Police in India are using tear gas against protesters as farmers travel to New Delhi and demand guaranteed prices for their crops. A drone at one point dropped tear gas on the protesters, and police have put up barricades as tens of thousands of farmers and people have traveled into the capital in tractors and trucks. This is all going on in India just 2 years after similar protests in the country. Those ended with Prime Minister Narendra Modi withdrawing controversial agricultural laws. But now the issues are back. And Neha Punya is live from New Delhi with us this morning. Neha, tell us a little bit more about the situation. It looks violent, looks a little volatile. What is happening there right now?
Well, Heather, we've seen some very dramatic scenes unfold on what is likely only the first day of a very long protest, according to 200 farmer unions. These farmers who are on their tractors and their trolleys have began that long march to Delhi from the North Indian state of Punjab, and they're currently about 230 kilometers away from New Delhi. Here they're being stopped by police officials belonging to the state of Haryana, which is Delhi's neighbor, and that's a region that's also ruled by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's party. We saw police teams using water cannons and tear gas shells to disperse farmers, but these protesters say they're not leaving and they're not going to turn back and go home. Many of these protesters were seen tearing down the barricading that had been put up and using their tractors to remove obstacles as well. These farmers say that they plan to march all the way to Delhi, where they will hold the government accountable to promises it made 2 years ago. They say they're carrying enough supplies in their trucks and their trolleys to last them several months, and the plan is to stay camped outside Delhi for as long as it takes. But right now the bigger question is if they'll even be allowed to reach the national capital, which is hunkered down and sealed its 3 borders, ensuring that if these farmers do reach Delhi's borders, they will not be allowed into the national capital.
Neha, I was mentioning in introducing you, there were similar protests in the country just a few years ago, and that led Modi to step back from some of his plans. What are the protesters demanding this time around, and what is likely to be the government reaction?
That's absolutely right. I mean, the scenes playing out now in Punjab and Haryana are reminiscent of the start of the last farmers' protest we saw in 2021, which eventually lasted a year and ended with Prime Minister Modi's government giving in and repealing controversial agricultural laws which farmers claimed favored corporates over India's farming community. Back then, the government had also agreed to several other demands the farmers had made, including bringing in a law which would guarantee them higher government support for their farm income, which farmers want to sell at state-controlled agricultural markets. They say that's not happened. They want their loans waived off. India has a huge problem with farmer suicides because of the huge amount of debt that many poor farmers accrue over the years. They're also asking that farm income be doubled. This is a promise that Mr. Modi has made over 2 terms. He said that he's pro-farmer and he wants to help them earn more money because farm holdings have become smaller over the years. But farmers say none of that has happened, which is why they've been forced to come back onto the streets to demand their dues.
Neha Punya, thank you very much, live in New Delhi for us this morning.